Hey, you're watching Voice of the Heroes. I'm Michael Allen Schneider.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the one and only one, Fleeboyjetson, and you're listening to the #1 anime podcast in the world, Voice of the Heroes. So if you're tuning in for the first time, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any interviews or discussions from your favorite heroes and villains from around the world. And today we're shining our spotlight on a very special guest. He's been in some of the greatest anime titles of all times. One Piece, Fairy Tail, Dragon Ball Super, Black Clover, Tokyo Revengers, Spy Family, Chainsaw Man, Vinland Saga, the newest and latest hit on Crunchyroll, Kaiju #8, and he is the voice of Ego, one of the best sport animes of all time, in Blue Lock. And last but not least, he's the voice of Shinra, the main character of Fire Force. Let's welcome Derick Snow to the channel. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing super fantastic. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about anime and just say hi to all the fans out there. Life's been good.
Thank you so much for tuning in once again. This is going to be a very special Voice of the Heroes episode. So everybody leave your comments in the comment section below and let us know what more can we do. We have the main character of Fire Force on the channel, Shinra, and let's talk a little bit about your character and the origins of creating his voice, or what inspired you to create the voice for Shinra.
So there's a path that led me into becoming Shinra Kusakabe. I worked on a show called Fairy Tail, where I voiced a character named Wall. It was the very last season, where he has this kind of in the lightly gravelly realm of Shinra, but he's way more. He's got the little sharp teeths. But the director of that, I worked with him on a couple of projects, but I had a lot of great time just being a maniac villain on the show. It didn't end well for him, like all bad guys. But it was this crunchy, that grinding, wonderful sound that I can easily access, thank goodness, without hurting my voice. And he was just kind of thinking about me in the back burner, and I got the audition for Fire Force, and I came into the studio to work with the director. Kyle Phillips was the ADR director of the first 2 seasons of Fire Force and the last season of Fairy Tail. And he had me come in and say, "Hey, Derick, I want you to read for a couple of characters." I think I read for Arthur, but he wanted me to read for Shinra. And he was like, "Okay, you know where you start with Wall? He starts like this. He's just crazy, like, just nuts." He's like, "Okay, bring him back. And then make him like, I don't know, 15, 16." So we lightened him up and made him way more earnest. And then in my mind, I was pulling from other things. He has this breathiness that, I don't know, I would call it like 2%. Don't hold this against me. It's like 2% Clint Eastwood with a little bit of that, do you feel lucky? With a hint of that, and we went with that with a couple of reads, and then I left, and then I got the notification that I had booked the show. They didn't tell me which role I had booked.
Oh, let's go.
So I came in, I was like, I booked something. I have a good feeling. And he brought me, I was like, "You know what you're here for, right?" I was like, I don't wanna be presumptive, but I hope Shinra." He's like, "My man, it was yours to lose." He was thinking about me the whole time, so I'm super lucky that he was thinking about me, because I mean that was a dream role. And then coming into it, once I found out that I had booked it, we kind of started slow with the very first episode. You hear him; it's kind of a slow start where he introduced him, and then I was just sitting in the booth once the fire kicks in off of his feet, that sub bass, and then it just made my neck tingle. And I knew I was in for something special. After that, I dove as much in as I could. I bought all the mangas, and I was just like scribbling through them for, to find references. And I had read and seen not all of Soul Eater, but I had read some of the manga as well, and I just was diving deep into all that. And it's yeah, here we are.
That's awesome. Did you finish the mangas?
Uh, as an actor, sometimes you just don't have time to dive into every role. I've done over 150 and just anime projects, not video games, all the other stuff I've done. And that's not episodes, that's different series and films and stuff. So you just, there's no time, but I go
True.
all in as much as I could into Fire Force just because I don't know. I mean, carrying a show and I had a lot of expectations once I started in on it. I'm a try hard, and so I couldn't help myself. Yes.
Nah, I
Yep.
see your background. That's why I asked, because you got books in the background. You got a guitar, which we'll talk more about
Yeah.
in the show. All right. So now the last time we saw your character, Shinra and Arthur, were both training to unlock their historical strength. We saw members of the White Clad, looking over the city, about to attack. We saw a cameo from the Smiling Moon from Soul Eater, linking the two animes somewhat together. Now, I
Hmm.
know it's a little bit away from the next season, April 25 to be exact, is when it's supposed to be released. But without any spoilers, what can we expect as fans from the next season of Fire Force?
Like we said, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but if I mean, it clearly is hinting into the Soul Eater universe with those. There's various imagery that starts popping up, particularly near the end of the second season, where they're hinting towards things. And if you haven't watched anything, I would recommend, watch Soul Eater and maybe even read the manga because if you don't know, it kind of veers a little bit from the manga. I would. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but if you've ever, I mean, the author, Okubo, Octobe, he's finished with it. He did the whole series. He's done. He
Yes,
wrapped it all
sir.
up in the mangas, and theoretically, this last season is going to tell that entire story, which a lot happens
Oh,
in
that's
the last
awesome.
you know there's so much to cram in. It's going to be an incredible amount to animate and realize in the real world. If you've read deep into the manga, it goes in crazy places. Real world. I don't want to spoil too much, but and I will say, how some series, TV, comics, anime, sometimes when they end, they don't end terribly well. I will say if the storyline is followed, it is going to be such a satisfying uh conclusion that does really cool stuff. It's like beautiful circles. It's amazing. I'm very excited for people to see the story. Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
definitely. Season 3 will be the final season of Fire Force and probably one of the greatest animes to grace the small screen. It's scheduled to be released April 2025, with the second core coming in January 2026 on Crunchyroll. I know this is a bittersweet moment for you, so I want to ask you, what has this anime meant to you, and how much of an impact has Shinra had on your life?
Well, I mean, just in a real world setting, like Shinra
Mm.
has been very good to me. It has opened the world to things like, conventions where I get to see people out into the world. He got this magical little Funko Pop, which is just really like it brought me to places like New Zealand and overseas, and it's amazing. Just being able to see people around the world, enjoying anime, that's wild to me. So I would say like Shinra has been the best personally to, in terms of like supporting myself as a working actor. It's been pretty great.
And that's awesome to have your actual own toy, your own Funko Pop. That gotta be the best feeling in the world, to
It's
have
pretty weird.
fans come up to you like, "Hey, man, what's the one quote they probably ask you to sign the most? Is
Woo!
there
Well,
like a
Shinra's
certain
got a
quote?"
lot of them, and generally he's got epic poems. So trying to cram those onto onto the box is God. He talks about being a hero so often. He's got that classic, where heroes always arrive from the skies, or even from the very first episode, like I smile whenever I feel tense. That's a really good one. People love that. I love to doodle. I love like the little smiley face with the devil. So I kind of go crazy. I go ham on those.
That's awesome. I gotta
Those
get one from you, man. I can't wait. You gotta let me know if you ever come to Oklahoma, man, for real. But let's talk a little bit about your other characters, because you have so many great characters. Like you said, you have been in so many different anime titles. From recurring roles, small roles, main characters. You're all over the place. And yeah, one of my favorite new animes, Blue Lock. Blue Lock season 2 is scheduled to be released October 5th. So let's talk a little bit about your character, Ego. For those who don't know, if you know, he gets quite a different role in the upcoming season. But for those who haven't seen Blue Lock, tell us a little bit about your character.
Well, the easiest way to even describe Blue Lock, it's an anime about soccer, but
Mhm.
it's like I don't know, elements of Squid Game and
I was about to say that.
Lord of
Man,
the
do I get a
Flies meets
Squid Game
yeah.
feel from it?
There's all kinds of great stuff, and I will say that Ego kind of opened the door to different character types for me. I had worked with the director, Jonathan Rigg. He's really cool. I worked with him on a couple of things before he brought me into work on Blue Lock. And Blue Lock, Jinpachi Ego, he's the head coach of the Blue Lock organization. Basically, it's his mastermind project. And he's just, is he a cult leader?
It just
You
feels like it,
bad guy?
right?
He kind of locks a bunch of kids. They sign the waivers. It's fine. He's got this long neck and these beautiful, spectacles where he's just waxing like a freaking maniac about, the esoteric, reasons to be the supreme egoist, the diamonds in the rough, and it, he keeps this incredible bubbling, this simmering feeling of like I don't know. He's like a showman, but he knows, and he realizes he knows. He's not a very humble character. I mean, his name is Ego, but I mean the backstory. There's a lot like that. He played soccer at some point, right? We know this. What kind of backstory are we going to lead into that? I know he becomes, he's going to take the best players from this testing ground that he created to play in amazing matches. And the thing I like about that show is there's so many different actors, there's so many different characters in the show, and they kind of focus on each one into why and how they have become this amazing, individual striker, but they're strikers playing together. It's a pretty fun concept. But like just being able to voice a character like that, what a delight. And he's got just the greatest monologues.
Yes,
Just
he
even
does.
first episodes, whenever we were hammering out where is this guy? When I found out I got him once again, I dove in a bit. I read like maybe three of the mangas at that point just to try to figure out what is his mindset. He's the only food he eats is what, like ramen noodles, just nothing but sodium, right? He's probably malnourished. If you've seen his atrophy, he probably was very athletic, but now he's just like this tall skeleton man, all brain and glasses and Crocs slippers or
I
something.
love what he's created though, and how he encourages or puts pressure on the strikers in the show, and just his voice, your voice just
Like a true cult
commands
leader. Yeah.
presence when you're on the screen. I love that character so much. Let's talk about another fan favorite character, Rill from Black Clover. Now the
Mhm.
anime series has no plans on a fifth season, but they recently released a Black Clover movie on Netflix that y'all can watch right now, titled Black Clover: Sword of the Wizard King. Now I heard that they paused production to avoid catching up to the manga, and that it will return and will be treated a little differently with shorter seasons that will round up from 12 to 24 episodes instead of the weekly episodes, and the same treatment will go for Boruto as well. Now these are all rumors, whether they true or not, but I just want to get your take on this. Would you prefer the more like compressed seasons than getting weekly episodes of the series? Like would you have 24 episodes of a season, or would you have something like you had before where it's just weekly and a concurring thing?
Well, goodness, the first 5 seasons, there were so many episodes. for those watching, I voiced Rill Boismortier, the captain of the Aquadeer Squad, and he's just got picture magic and he's super overpowered. And
Yeah,
except for
he
his
is
DP that stops him a little bit.
OP.
Yeah, if only he weren't so distracted by silly things. But yeah, we kind of wrapped up that movie not too long ago. There's other projects. There was a video game that recently released, like a gotcha type mobile game that's been pretty good. We got to do the English voices on that, and the feedback is huge. People love Black Clover.
Yeah, a lot of fans are
While there haven't
supporting.
been like official announcements, it's inevitable that
Hmm.
more is on the way. If that means another season where possibly fewer episodes, but maybe some side stories, maybe another movie, because the Netflix one did pretty well.
Yeah, I
It was like
enjoyed
number
it.
one. Number one, it did great. It was
Yeah,
doing
I love that
fantastic
one, to be
on
honest with you.
streaming. So like, it wouldn't surprise me to see like the nature of production because of the pandemic. Everything just got
True.
smushed and stretched, and now 8 episodes or 13 episodes. I did, there's still series like One Piece where,
Yeah,
thousands of episodes,
they
but
won't
not all
stop. They
anime
keep
can be
going.
that, right? Um, as long as a story gets told, and if you do a whole, like say like 24 episodes, 26 episodes, sometimes you get those filler episodes, which can be good or bad depending on, whatever. So like as long as the story is compelling and it doesn't feel like anything was skimped on, I feel like that's important in terms of storytelling. As an actor, fortunately, I'm working on lots of projects, so I'm never dependent on just one series, So
Yeah,
if I were only working on that, I want that to be 46 episode season every week.
definitely. I respect it. I'm
So I
not
can
even
keep pushing,
mad.
but I'll take what I can get. I don't mind like shorter seasons. In say like Britain, they'll do an entire just one episode, like what, 8 episodes for an entire series or whatever, and then they'll come back like 10 years later to continue it. At least we're
Oh
not that.
my, oh
So
my.
that's painful.
Yeah, that's painful. Being a
Yeah,
fan must be devastating.
painful. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about new animes. Man, you was currently in Kaiju number 8, one of my personal new favorite animes that was released alongside, what was another good one that came out? Wistoria and Solo Leveling, all these great animes coming out this
Golden
year.
Kamuy, I hear there's more stuff from that. I've got several characters in that show, no recurrings, but lots of little bits and pieces. Weird show.
Let's
Uh,
talk about some of this stuff though. Let's talk about upcoming and ongoing animes. Would you like to, is there a dream role out there for you or a character that you would love to play in any of these?
well, so currently I'm working on a couple of smaller series that are still really fun to me. There's a show called Shy. We're in the second season of that.
Oh, I seen that. That's the superhero
Hmm
one. That's something like My Hero, right?
yeah, it's very fun. Very like there's some big, huge battles. I voiced this little cutie devil buddy named Doki.
Doki.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's got hints of Shinra, but like if Shinra were on like I don't know bath salts or something, he's so crazy. And then there's another show called Delico's Nursery. This is a first for me. I'm like, I'm a father in the show. I'm the main character on that, Dolly Delico. He's like this vampire who he solves crimes. He's not unlike Sherlock Holmes, and he uses about I would say like I don't know in that same realm where I start with say like Ego. I have a big range. I tend to get cast with young, crazy, murdery people, but other shows like that. So, but in terms of future shows or things that I'd like to do, I I'm I have a range. I have a big range. I would love to do a show where I'm voicing like 5 or 6 or 7 characters all at the same time, against myself. That's the
Mm.
dream. I want to act. I want to be every character on a show. That'd be
That
amazing.
that's
What a
actually
challenge.
that is
And to
actually
make them
fire.
different from each other, and to make it seem real, whether that's an anime or cartoon or video game. That's just I've had the chance to play like multiple characters in a scene, but that's kind of the dream to be able to do something like that. I want to get into the like I wouldn't mind hopping into that Genshin Impact universe. I wouldn't mind doing that. That sounds
Oh,
like
we
fun.
was
I have some friends that are in that. I'd love to hop on board that.
We were just
Or
talking about
whatever
that.
projects are from. Is it? Oh gosh, what's the production company? Hoki or
I
Hori?
think
I can't
so,
remember
but yeah, we were just talking about Genshin
the name. Mihoyo, yeah.
Impact. Yeah, Genshin Impact recently well announced they was doing an anime, but it's been like 2 years since they announced it. So
A little slow.
man,
Things get slow. Yeah.
yeah, how long does it usually take animes to go into production?
Well, nowadays, like ever since 2020, who knows? It's kind of a wild card because you had all these anime that were in pre-production, and then all these others just got smashed into the time. I mean, Fire Force has, I feel like, has had to deal with this because we wrapped up season two. I was recording in a walk-in closet during the middle of the pandemic because the studio shut down and we had to do, incredible engineering feats to finish that off. And then it initially, and there's all kinds of rumors about how it got picked up and maybe moved to other studios, but I'm just the actor. I don't know
Yeah.
100% about the behind the scenes, but like, and so like, it's just this endless queue of so many anime and so many production companies just kind of cramming together. And for a long time, people, some studios are still working from home and things get complicated. And once again, as an actor, I don't have much
Yeah.
say on how fast these productions get made. And sometimes, I'd rather things get delayed a little bit to make the animation high quality. Like
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man, I'm so excited for the you. I don't know what's been officially announced, but there's been talk of a movie and talk of the next series, and it's so popular. In case you don't know, I voice Beam the Shark Fiend in Chainsaw Man. I popped on at the end of season two with the chompy chompy zombies. He's crazy. He's great fun. He's gonna be Denji's bestest best friend for a while.
I can't wait for it. Speaking
Yeah.
of, you just said something, right? And it just made me think about a question, a here on the spot question. When production and all that stuff shut down, the studio shut down during the pandemic. Did they compensate you or give you money to buy that studio stuff? Or did you have to go get that stuff on your own?
I did not have to get that stuff on my own. In fact,
Oh wow.
uh, uh, Funimation at the time, it had just freshly been, I think, purchased by Sony or something. But Funimation has always been pretty good to me personally when things went down. I feel like enough time has passed. They actually sent me a buffer package to help me personally with a little income. It was like incredible. I was incredibly grateful for what they did. And then when the time came to pick back up recording, they made these all the actors that were working on shows that they had to finish, they custom made these, like they had iPads and custom USB microphones that they sent out so everything would sound exactly the same. So we all recorded with this. I'm going to call it like the home recording kit that they sent us. It was pretty cool. We had to find a place to record, and then they provided us mics and stands and iPads and all this fun stuff. And then once we got it all set up, we communicated with engineers, and it was an incredible feat on their side to make everything sound incredibly consistent. You wouldn't know because they
Mm.
used really great stuff, but like it was like going to the moon, the amount of like engineering and problem solving they had to figure out to get things that were in the middle of recording. Because gosh, I remember working on like the first half of Fire Force. I remember the day everything happened. It was like, all right, we gotta close, everybody get out of here. And I had just recorded, the middle of an episode. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll see what happens. And then like 2 months later, finally they got in touch, and I mean they had been in touch to, you know, trying to figure out some stuff, and they sent all that stuff, and then we just kind of got back to it from our own little worlds. During that time I recorded this big blue box behind me is this is my home studio I record with. I still go into studios and stuff, but I do a lot from this bad boy. I'm very, very lucky at this point to have my own recording studio. Yay. It's a
That's
TARDIS.
amazing. Let's talk a little about yourself now. Let's what made you become an actor or what inspired you to become an actor?
Whoo, in terms of like voice acting, when I was a little kid, I had an audio tape recorder and I would just put on little improv dramas that I would record, being very silly. I was operating and, I wanted to be a Foley artist. If you don't know what that is, it's like the guy that does sound effects in movies and stuff. But my first play, I grew up in Alaska, a place called Barrow, now called
Oh
Puget.
my God, Alaska?
And
I think you.
yeah, Point Barrow, Alaska. I blame my parents. And I was the lead in a little version of Where the Wild Things Are at my elementary school, and after that, I kept it up. I did more shows. I was a little fella. I was, like 4'7" for the longest time, and then I was a little tiny kid. I was always the mouse in plays and stuff. And then I had my huge growth spurt. I'm 5'5". I'm not super tall now, but uh, and I started working in more TV and on camera and commercials and stuff. I lived in LA for a while and worked on pilots and stuff like that. And I did. I kept getting edited out of things. I kept almost making it, but it didn't quite happen over and over and over again. I did an on camera. I was doing a film with a guy that was. It was eventually he was a voice actor in anime. He was like his name was Brian Massey, and he was he's like, Derick, you got to come down to Texas. And, we got anime and video games and stuff. That's how he sounds, by the way. And but sexier. And so I was like, yeah, sure. I was already doing commercial voice work, and I had done a little bit of video games, but not a huge amount. But I liked the idea of it, and so I put together my reel, and I had my first audition. After a while, I had a Google alert when the general auditions came. Those don't really happen now. Everything's changed. It's been about 10 years, but I did that and managed to accidentally book like a secondary lead character on a show. Not a huge show, but it led to, yeah, doing consistent work. And I just kind of rose up the ranks, pulling in some stuff, not screwing up too bad. And yeah, I do I still do on camera, but voice work has been great for me. I doesn't matter how tall I am. I can be as tall as Jinpachi Ego or Big News Morgan's in One Piece. He's like 11 foot tall.
Hey, you know what's I would find interesting? One Piece live adaptation on Netflix. You had a character. What's your character's name on there? Morgan?
Well,
You
I
said
voiced a few. Nezumi, he's the mouse marine. He's a slimy little fella. He's art. Yeah, he already made an appearance. Big News Morgans. He looks like Big Bird, but with really cool pants and a top hat. He's like the J. Jonah Jameson of the One Piece universe.
Would you like to come in and voice him, or if they were
Oh,
to put
hey,
you in a suit, would you be
heck
down to go in the
yeah, heck yeah, that'd be big news.
suit?
Yes, please.
That would be awesome. I could see it, man. All right, what's one of the lines from any one of your characters that resonate with you on a personal level?
Hmm. Well, I would say once again, Shinra is he's my best good boy. Sometimes he's got so many inspirational quotes about being a hero. I think I mean there's 1,000 of them, but uh, let's see. I will get back up as often as it takes, and each time I won't be beaten. I think that one if you get knocked down, you learn from your mistakes or why you fell, and then you can go higher than ever before. As long as you don't give up. That still speaks to me right now. Every day. It's kind of thanks, Shinra.
That's so awesome, man. I love to hear when y'all go in y'all bag and y'all bring out some of these characters because mind you, these characters that we watch, y'all either made us laugh, cry, entertained us. So thank you for all your work that you put in on all these different characters because out there you mean so much to somebody and you got somebody through their day just from your voice alone. So I want to thank you on behalf of all the heroes and villains out there. Now, let me also get into our anime questions. These two anime questions we ask most of our guests, but they're completely your own opinion, your own take on it. What impacted you the most, or your personal preference or opinions. Now, what are your top 3 animes of all time?
Well, I know the one that had the most impact on me, Princess Mononoke, particularly the
Mm.
English dub, because I watched that and I think I was in like high school, and it made me realize it had what Billy Bob Thornton is one of the central characters, and it made me realize like that people that we expect in our mind's eye, like how they act, how they can traditionally you see them on film, you don't have to sound that way. Like you can be. I was just coming at it through an actor's perspective because that's just kind of what I do. I tend to. One of the problems being an actor, we just pull apart everything to put our processes into it. So just as an actor, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Not only is it a fantastic story that animation can be told in a different way. I hadn't watched that much, anime. So just watching this animated movie is like, wow, this is so much more adult. This is like got so many levels of depth that uh, I didn't realize that could be possible in terms of storytelling, which made me kind of want to start working in things like anime. I love cartoons. I have, my voice is a cartoon. I'm a cartoon character in the real world. But like being able to find subtle performances in something like that just blew my mind. So that's probably like my number one. Um, Other things like once again, growing up, I loved the Animatrix. I know that's kind of a cop out because it's like 11 vignettes, but I love like once again the storytelling. You take this thing, one of my favorite films growing up it was The Matrix, and to just delve into so many different ways to get behind the scenes of that story, and finding out later, all these amazing anime directors had worked in, putting their little spin on the one universe. I thought that was mind blowing. And then, I mean, come on, Dragon Ball Z, particularly for me. I loved the theme music, just coming, getting ready to, turn that on when you're driving. You just start dragging, right? Just so good. Those are probably my big three. And to be
Great
able to get in on
choices.
Dragon Ball, I remember the day, like so Dragon Ball Super, like I came in like right at the end of that series, but I remember being able to tell my parents, like, Mom, you know what Dragon Ball is? I'm in that. That's amazing, right?
Now
So.
they also just announced about 168 characters for Spark and Zero. Are your characters in that? I want to see.
Let's see. Yeah. I think Ro from the Supreme Kai from the Ninth Universe. I think he's got some bits, yeah, that we worked on through that. I'm always hesitant to make any announcements or anything because I haven't. Nobody's told me if anything's been
Yeah,
announced.
they announced all the characters
Yeah,
recently. I think it was like 2 days ago. They came out with a trailer with like 106, which is gonna be
endless.
insane.
Yeah, there's some great Dragon Ball stuff. I'm so excited just to see, particularly like the new series that he worked on, like his last project, the director of the Dragon Ball
Oh,
universe. I'm so
Daima,
excited to just watch
Daima.
all that stuff. I'm just a fan.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. I'm really hyped about that. Heroes, I was about to drop y'all a really crazy spoiler interview that I got coming for Dragon Ball Daima. So you're not gonna want to miss out, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel because I got a huge special guest coming for that series. But yeah, I'm super stoked for that series as well. Now let's talk about your Mount Rushmore of anime characters. So you get four characters, right? You get to put four characters on here that you feel would be your Mount Rushmore of anime characters. And then I got a huge One Piece versus Fire Force question for you
Okay.
that I would like
Are
you
we
to
talking about like characters that I voice or that I want to be doing or
who you're like, everybody feels like, so say for instance, like Mount Rushmore of anime characters, like, a lot of people say Goku
oh yeah.
and, things like that impacted, the anime culture. But, I kind of strayed away from that and I want to
Mm,
get the different takes on it because, sometimes we get the same characters over and over when we ask that question. So I asked the voice actors
mm.
your take on your Mount Rushmore.
Oh boy. You know, once again, as an actor, I kind of go behind the scenes and find who are my favorites working right now on my favorite roles. I think I think you had a guest of Phil Parsons on your podcast
Mm.
recently. He's one of my favorite dudes in the real world. And yeah, he's Captain Burns in Fire Force, but he's a million other great things. He's one of my favorites. Uh, Zeno Robinson, he's one of my all-time favorite humans. He's in everything. He's like one of the greatest up-and-coming performers that every time I watch him, he just explodes in like majesty. Uh, Sarah Wiedenheft, she's multiple things in the world. She's in Chainsaw Man and a million other things. And she just every time I see her perform, she brings me great joy. Uh, and let's see. Um, a fantastic dude, Kellen Goff. He
Oh,
Yeah, he was the main bad dude in the Shia Hisaikai back during My Hero Academia that I got to work on with him during what was it, season 4 of My Hero Academia when we were all together for the Chisaki arc. And he's just an amazing actor and performer. And every time I hang out with him, he's just a beautiful light, and he plays the best bad guys ever. He's got this beautiful heart, but his voice says, "I'm a bad guy."
you know what? I kind of like those answers from you. You know why? Because for one, I think you just started a new trend here on the channel, and a question I'm going to be asking voice actors, because I usually ask for the characters
Mhm.
instead of the voice actors, and you gave us the voice actors instead of the characters just now. And
Do
hey,
what I
but
did.
I
Yeah.
think we just hit something golden there. I love that, and that's going to be a nice little clip. So thank you for that. All right, so we got a question. We got two characters that are badass with their feet. We got your character from Fire Force, Shinra, and we got Sanji from One Piece. In an
Mm.
all-out battle in Times Square, let's do location Times Square.
All right.
Both rage mode, full power, not holding back.
All
Who
right.
wins with just using their feet?
Oh, just feet, huh?
Just feet.
Well, this is it's gonna have some. They're gonna first of all, you got to set up the OnlyFans feed so you can make a little extra money if it's just the foot stuff. Secondly, okay, what are Sanji's best powers? Because Shinra, he's got flight, that's fine. He's got the ability to freeze time. He
Oh,
can pause and then just go to town. And I mean, once he gets full power, we're talking universe exploding powers. But like, so I'm a little biased. If he were to come at it first he would. Well, I think Shinra's big problem is he's got to convince himself that he's even worthy because he's going to beat himself up for a little while. He's going to talk about heroes, being a hero, and why he should be a hero for about 20 minutes. And then he's going to get his butt handed to him initially. So as long as Shinra doesn't become evaporated initially by Sanji's, amazing powers, I think he can pick it back up. He's all he needs is 1 second. If he can muster that power to do his cool little hand jives, so he can, pull out the Adola and control time space. I think he might have it in, I would say in hand, but in foot. Mhm.
yeah, straight feet. I think he could win because who else? Sanji ain't got fire coming from his feet. So
Yeah.
he got to deal with that. So, me personally, heroes, I'm going with Shinra on this one.
About
My
time.
guy Derek Stowe's going with Shinra. Let us know who you going with in the comments section. Who wins this epic battle between anime characters, One Piece's Sanji or Fire Force's Shinra? This has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Derek, let people know where they can find you at on social media.
You can, well, my website, it's hard to spell, DerickSnow.com. It's got all my social, but usually it's either the Derek Snow or just Derek Snow. You can just Google me and it shows right up. I've got some fun, like, oh boy, I'm trying to remember I've got a couple of conventions coming up depending on
Oh,
when
yeah, let's talk about it. Are there any
and all
upcoming
this. I've been
projects and
incredibly
conventions?
lucky. My November 15th to the 17th, I'm going to Grand Rapids for Grand Rapids Comic Con, and then Houston, Texas, I'm going to the Nostalgia Con, and then in the new year, there's lots of great conventions I've already got booked, but they won't let me quite talk about it yet. So just kind of follow me on
Oh,
social, and I share that, and I always keep my conventions updated on my website. Yeah.
definitely. Is there any place where we can like purchase signings from you online? Like, say if I wanted to get a Shinra pop from you and I wanted to
Yeah,
purchase
I've
one.
done individual signings with some groups. I don't have anything planned right now. I have, like Cameo and stuff if you want me to shout out stuff, but individual signings, I do have a contact form um if anybody wants to do individual signings and stuff, I can always set that up. I do have my convention booking agent, conventions, etc. They've always been very nice if there's any like stores and stuff that want to set up signings. And then I'll make an announcement about that. But yeah,
Oh,
I've done them in
that's
the past. I've got more
awesome.
to come, but nothing like happening right now.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Heroes, villains, let us know what you thought about this episode featuring Derick Snow, the main character of Fire Force, Shinra, man, and the new episode ready to appear April 2025. You can also catch him right now on a few great animes like Blue Lock coming out October 5th. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And love yourself, pass that love on, and love others. And until next time, heroes, we're out.
Sing it with me, pretty Cali.